Hi, it's Mark Coopersmith with UC Berkeley Haas Marketing Professor Judy Hopelain, and we just finished recording the short video on the second P pricing. And as we signed off, we both had a conversation about the pricing of luxury products. So we thought we would do a little bonus addition to P number two, if you all don't mind, right, Judy?
It's the P2 plus.
Yeah, the P2 Plus, exactly.
More.
This is a
There's
bonus.
more.
We're bundling. In fact, we are bundling this with our last video. And the interesting observation, and Judy and I were talking about this, is with luxury products, sometimes if you raise the price, demand goes up. With luxury products, a lot of the value, the perceived value, is this element of scarcity and luxury and inaccessibility. So pricing plays a huge role in how your products, here's another P, are positioned vis-a-vis non-luxury products or other luxury products. So the fascinating element of pricing is normally when you think about price and the conventional wisdom that Adam Smith and the economists said, if you lower price, demand goes up. If you raise price, demand goes down. And the answer is not always true.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
so some additional thoughts. I mean, Apple's an interesting one, Judy, because it's not a luxury product, but it's a little bit of a luxury product. It kind of occupies that a rare space in between.
It does, and I think they play with luxury, right? So for the Apple Watch, all the iterations of the Apple Watch, there has been the luxury version with partners with Hermes, right? You can get the Hermes version,
Right.
started out I think at $1,500, and I don't know what the price point is for the Apple Watch 7 with Hermes, but the very high-end designer version. Then there's, and then they have step downs, right? They've got a $500 version, and then the $399 version, like we
Right.
just saw in the price P little video that we just did.
Mm.
So they have made available a higher price option with a brand name known for luxury that helps elevate that, the Apple 7 watch to a higher level even than its regular Apple by itself. There's also an Apple Nike version, right? If you're sporty,
Right.
right? There's another, and it's a higher price point than the starting price as well.
Well, you're
Um,
getting the benefit of multiple brands. I mean, when you start attaching yourself to lifestyle brands or luxury brands and you get that co-branding, you get that elevation in status, luxury branding, and as a result, you're expected to pay for that.
Exactly. And I do think when it comes to luxury branding and other products too, but especially luxury branding, price is a funny thing. If it's too cheap, it might not be real.
Right.
And it's probably not as good as the more expensive version of the thing, right?
Wait, wait, that Bulgari watch that I bought on the sidewalk the other day for $27 is
Yeah,
not real, right?
I'm so sorry to burst
Yeah.
your bubble. And even if it was only, 500, it still might not be real,
Yeah, exactly.
And I think uh, we are sort of sensitive to this idea that if it's too cheap, it can't be good, or it can't be real, right? So the version of non-luxury is if it's too cheap, it's probably not good. The version in luxury is if it's too cheap, it's not real. And part of what we are buying when we're buying a luxury brand, in addition to the quality and the aesthetic and the beauty, which is in the eye of the beholder of the item, it's that badge value. Come on, they've got their logos all over this stuff. So it's the Gucci or the Christian Dior, the Chanel, or whichever that logo is that's on that product. We're buying that badge value. It's the essence of what the brand is, right? And we want to be associated with that, and we want it to be real.
Well, one thing that you mentioned with regard to Apple is something that luxury brands are typically very careful about, and that is offering discounts. And that list of brands that you mentioned are famous for essentially never going on sale, which means that as consumers, when we look at somebody with that Hermes scarf or that Cartier watch or whatever, we know that they didn't go bargain shopping for it, that to buy that product, to wear that product, they paid full price, and you pay that price pretty much the same around the world.
Yeah.
So when we talk about introducing products and then either raising prices or lowering prices or having a strategy that things go on sale every so often, with luxury products, you kind of throw those rules out of the window.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think, and just building on that idea, I mean, there's plenty of examples of retailers that have taught us to wait till the sale, right? So, I mean, Gap with a refresh every 6 months, 6 weeks, they are moving inventory out and they're marking it down in order to move it out to bring in the next fresh load. And they don't have a responsive enough supply chain to allow them to order closer to market, like somebody like Zara does have, so that they end up with merchandise that didn't sell and they need to move it. And so we wait for the sales, and that applies across all the Gap brands, right? It's true for Banana, it's true for Old Navy, it's true for Athleta. And in contrast, the designer brands and the true luxury brands, scarcity, like you mentioned already, scarcity is the name of the game. It's what drives up the premiumness and the specialness of those things. It's why the Real Real, and everybody like the Real Real exists, is because there's not that much of this stuff in circulation.
Right. And for those of you who don't know the Real Real, it's a online and bricks and mortar chain that offers authenticated luxury products for resale, with a guarantee that what you're buying is real. So that's why it's the Real Real.
Exactly.
Well, and that's one of the few ways you might get that Cartier watch for less than what Cartier lists it for on their website.
Yep.
So my final word, and then Judy, to you for yours. When you are looking, when you have a luxury or near luxury product or service, think a little differently about price than the traditional rules and start to apply those elements of scarcity and lack of discounting to maintain that perceived high value, or back to that value proposition, which isn't just the functional attributes of the product, but also those other elements, the perceived value that you get with it. Judy?
I would just echo the perceived value, right? That benefit to you of being in that more exclusive club of people who can afford to have one of those luxury items. And you know, it is definitely a badge of being in some kind of a more exclusive group. That's that and that drives how you think about pricing, and how, because that's what your customers are, part of what your customers are looking to you for, is that validation that they're in that group. So I think it's a super interesting and counterintuitive thought process when it comes to pricing.
So that concludes our bundled add-on special feature of our product, or rather our pricing video, as we talk about features, products, pricing, and all of that, and value prop. All right, we'll see you soon.